Good afternoon. For 4 News Now, I'm Rob King. We're beginning today's KXLY Plus Daily Rundown by speaking with 4 News Now's Kirstin O'Connor. She has a special report airing tomorrow night, and Kirstin's just here to talk a little bit about it, so let's go ahead and pull her in. Kirstin, how are you?
Hey Rob, good to see you again.
Good
I
to
see you
see
every day
you.
in the newsroom, but
Yeah, but it's
digitally.
nice to do it in the digital space as well.
Yes.
So, Kirstin, your special report is on a certain type of scams. Now, we're all aware of phishing scams, texting, email, phone calls, but what's new about this scam that you're looking at?
That's right. And I like that you mentioned the other scams because that was part of the conversation as well, Rob. This scam was really focused on intimidation, and it happened in North Spokane last month. So it's not something that you're just hearing about on national news or, coming in from family and friends that are outside of the area. This is something that's right here in Spokane. And according to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, a victim, had two men walk up to his front door, knock on his front door, face to face, have this conversation with him about being with the Treasury Department, and asking him to pay them money right now, or they were going to arrest him. They had what he thought was a Crown Victoria out front, in front of his house. It was very intimidating and fear based, and so this Spokane County Sheriff's Office really wants us to get the word out, because they have not caught these scammers yet, and there could be more victims out there.
So they also looked the part.
That's right. That is another part of this that's so bold. These scammers showed up in suits. They were well rehearsed. They had a plan. And so I think a lot of times when we talk about scams, people think, how could you fall for that? But in this particular situation, and in most of the situations, according to the investigators that work on these so often, the people who are working to get your money don't give you any time to think. And they use fear and they use panic, to make sure that you're going to get, or they're going to get what they want, without letting you think.
So this individual that this happened to, did they go through with it? Did they end up falling victim to it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh.
And so we only know as of this time in May about one victim, who ended up losing hundreds of dollars to these two men still out there. There could be more victims, though. That was one of the questions that I asked, because a lot of times in these scam cases, people don't come forward. They end up buying the gift cards or giving out their personal information, and sadly, don't feel good about reporting it to police or to the sheriff's office.
Is that out of fear or embarrassment?
It's tough to say. It's tough to say why, but that is a trend that these investigators have noticed, is that a lot of times victims don't come forward. And so we are trying to encourage people, not only empower them to protect their money, but also encourage them, if they've heard of a scam like this happening to a neighbor, to a friend, to a family member, call the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, call Crime Check, and let them know, because they are really interested in talking with these people.
So what is law enforcement recommending as far as, what to look out for, the red flags of this?
So that's what my story will focus on Thursday night. And there are a lot of red flags, a lot of signs for people, but we're going to focus and hone in on three of them. And I won't give it all away because I want you to tune in at 6 p.m.
That's a good tease. You're a true professional.
I think the big takeaway for me personally was, anytime you feel fear, you feel panic, and you're being faced with a question about money and why you haven't paid a bill, or why you haven't, and we're going to potentially arrest you if you don't do this. Stop and really think about it. Take that pause, take that moment, because according to the public information officer, Corporal Mark Gregory, police officers are not going to come to your door and tell you that you owe them money before they make an arrest. If they're going to arrest you, they're going to do it. They will
Yeah.
have already figured, gotten all their ducks in a row. That's not how this works. And so taking that breath, taking that moment to think, I think is hopefully going to help people. And, he also mentioned a lot of the people that fall victim to this are not watching the news.
Mm.
They're not necessarily on social media. So they might not have even heard of these types of scams. They might not have even heard of some of the scams you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, the email scam. They may have fallen victim several times. So we need to try to get the word out, and be a little more vigilant about even people coming to our door. I know a lot of us, you see a potential scam come up on your phone and just don't answer it. We're kind of accustomed to it at this
Sure.
point. But to have somebody come to your door and have that conversation, we're not as accustomed to that, especially after the pandemic. We haven't had as many face-to-face conversations with strangers, and we're still kind of getting used to that. So don't let people intimidate you. Question them, ask them who they are before you, make any decisions, especially with your personal information.
Got it. So maybe even if you know a neighbor who's not as plugged in, maybe they're not on social media, maybe you can kind of alert them to this and, face to face, like saying, hey, this is going on in our community.
Right. I mean, I hope people share our story, not just on social media, but in conversations that they're having. I know I talk to a lot of people nowadays who will just tell me straight to my face they don't watch the news.
It's always pleasant.
And hey, you know what? If they want to talk about it, I'm very happy to, share those articles, share the research that we do, and give out that information, because that's how we can be of service to our community, and that's what's so important to me.
Absolutely. So Kirstin, your package that's going to air tomorrow is going to be a certain amount of minutes. It's going to be 2-3 minutes. And was there anything that you wish you could have put in had you had longer time that maybe just didn't fit this time?
And that's my favorite question always when we do these talkbacks digitally, because we do have so much time. It's sort of unlimited.
Oh yeah, we can go as long as you'd like.
It helps people, I think, understand the process of journalism, because typically we do have a lot that of the conversations that we have with, the public information officers with the sheriff's office, or even in some cases, victims who've fallen victim to these scams. And we don't get to include the whole conversation. It is a short TV piece. So in this one, I do want to mention, and some of you may have already experienced this. If you're talking to a scammer on the phone, in person, even through text message, a lot of times these people are well rehearsed. They have talked it over with their buddies. They know what they're doing. And so that is a form of intimidation just by itself. The public information officer who I interviewed for this story said he was impressed. He said, these guys do their homework. And he even quizzed a couple people in a separate scam over the phone about, where is the Spokane County Sheriff's Office? If you are a government official, can you tell me? And they knew. And he asked, who is the sheriff? And questions like that. And these people, they know their stuff right away. So if those questions, you're starting to get that kind of tingly feeling something's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I shouldn't listen to this person, and you start to ask them questions, and they respond quickly, that can be another fear tactic, and not necessarily one that means these people are legit. It's more important to, again, take that pause and maybe look up some numbers that you can call to verify that these people are who they say they are, not the numbers that they're giving you. Not the number that they're calling you on, not the number that, they may give you on their business card if you meet them face to face. Look up this company, look up who this person is, if they can, provide some identification, and try to get a hold of the real person on the other end of the line, because that will help. Hopefully, that will help people avoid these scams and save their money.
Absolutely, and taking that pause could be the thing that just gives you a moment to think and breathe and be like, oh wait, something's off here. But one of the tactics that the scammers would use is not give you time to pause.
Yeah. Yeah, that's their goal. They're going to answer your questions immediately. They've got that rehearsal process, and they're just going to keep driving home that they need to get this money right now while we're on the phone. I need to get it right now. I need you to go to your nearest drugstore, buy this gift card. I need you to send me your personal, routing number. And as soon as you do something like that, then yeah, you've opened it up. You've opened up the floodgates, and they can get as much as they want.
Yeah. Well, Kirstin, this is a very important topic, and you have your special report airing tomorrow night on this of a new kind of scam. That's not just one we're hearing about. It's happening locally. We've heard about it in Spokane. So is there anything else that you want to add?
I would just like to ask, I seem to be doing more and more of these scam reports, and unfortunately, they just keep happening. So if you or anyone who, viewers who are watching this has heard about a new scam or, is just trying to figure out how to get your money back, please send me an email. I would love to try to investigate and help you get your money back. So my email address is kO'Connor@KXLY.com. And of course, you can find me on social media as well. But I really would like to hear from people. I know we've asked previously for anybody who's interested to come forward, but no judgment. I'm just here to help, and hopefully these reports will keep people's money safe. I mean, we don't have money to just be given out to anybody at this stage. We're all trying to save every penny. So anything I can do to help people make ends meet, that's what I'm here for.
Absolutely. And, if someone sees a victim of this come forward, that may inspire them to come forward. And that does, not only help get the word out, but help law enforcement in their investigations.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, Kirstin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Again, Kirstin's special report airs tomorrow. 4 News Now, I believe, at 6 o'clock. You can correct me if that's wrong. But be sure to tune in, and it will be up on our website and socials following it airing. So, Kirstin, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob. See you soon.
Yep. Bye-bye. So once again, you can tune in tomorrow. Good morning, or sorry, not good morning. 4 News Now at 6 for Kirstin's special report on these scams that are taking place locally in Spokane. So be sure to watch that. So we're going to move right along into the rest of the KXLY Plus Daily Rundown. I'll take a look at some of the top local headlines, and I'll let you know what the 4 News Now team is working on today. Starting with Natalie Grant. Now, we had a couple breaking incidents this morning. It looked to be in high schools around the region, where it looks like another case of swatting at some local high schools. Central Valley, in particular, SPS alerted the public that there was a swatting incident in which someone calls in a fake threat to a school. Law enforcement respond, and then police cleared the scene, though, and realized that there was no threat. So that occurred at Central Valley. SPS did say that there would be an increase of law enforcement around all the schools in their district. We also heard about it happening in Pullman. Pullman police tweeted that they were responding to an incident at Pullman High School, but later cleared the building and realized the threat was not credible. So Natalie Grant is out there speaking with folks about what happens when this does happen. Not only quick law enforcement response, but how does it impact students and parents through the day as well. Peter Choi, he's following up on a story he's been covering quite a bit at the Cheney Mobile Home Park, the North Cheney Mobile Home Park. It looks like it was voted on to approve redevelopment on the site. So this was one of the things being discussed, as residents could be forced out of their homes if they choose to develop multifamily housing at this site. It looks like currently there are no plans in place to develop the land, but they do have the approval should the property owner choose to go ahead and do that. So what will residents do now if they are forced out of their homes? Peter Choi will have all that. Bronte Sorotsky, she is down in Moscow today, getting ready for the University of Idaho's graduation. About 2,300 students will be graduating as Vandals, getting their degrees this weekend. Part of that ceremony will be posthumous degrees awarded to the 4 victims in the Moscow murders. Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle will be receiving certificates posthumously. In addition, a 5th person also died during the school year, Guadalupe Ruiz. She was killed in a car accident in August, and she will also be receiving a posthumous degree. So Bronte is speaking with the school about that process of going through and what those ceremonies will look like. Vanessa Perez, she's working on a story that Visit Spokane released their 2022 tourism numbers. So she's going to take a look at that and talk to some local businesses about how they've been bouncing back since the pandemic. Are they seeing those pre-pandemic numbers? If you looked at Bloomsday, there were thousands of people coming into town. So she's going to be looking at last year's numbers that have been released in full, and she will have the latest on that. Closing out with a look outdoors. Be aware the warming trend starts today. Lucky us, it's going to be sunny and dry mostly today. Could get some mountain rain later, but the high of 68. Start hydrating, because as we look at this warming trend, it's only going to get hotter progressing through the rest of the week. It's going to be 80s on the weekend, as you can see that warming trend. And as we look through the 7-day forecast, our highs here should shape up though for a beautiful Mother's Day, which our mothers deserve nothing less than the best. So be aware of that. Looks like things are going to get better. So that's all we have for today's KXLY Plus Daily Rundown. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Kirstin O'Connor, for talking a little bit about her special report and giving us some insight as to what that process is like. And don't forget to tune into 4 News Now at 6 to watch that special report. It will also be up on our website following its conclusion. So we'll have all those stories and more coming up. Regular news time today at 5. But for now, I'm live in studio. Rob King for KXLY Plus.